Welcome to the 5th episode of CANversations, where we'll talk about the secret behind the successful installation of the CAN units offshore. But first, let us introduce today's new guest in CANversations, Antonio. So tell us, Antonio, who are you?
Hi, Siri. I'm a senior project engineer at Neodrill. I am have a background with petroleum engineering. I have a bachelor in petroleum engineering and a master in petroleum engineering. I have been working with subsea engineering, with early phase concept studies, develop feed engineering, and detail engineering, procurement, and also installation now of offshore structures.
And how did you hear about Neodrill? And because you've been there for 1 year, I understand.
That's correct. Well, we can go back at my previous job. I was working in Rosenberg, and the first day at Rosenberg, I started with a project that it was engineering for Equinor, for a concept that it's very, very similar to the product in Neodrill. And I started without knowing, and I worked there 5 years with this technology. And then I thought it was time to switch to grow a bit, and that definitely was a good choice.
So you've learned a lot since Neodrill as well?
The learning curve in Neodrill has been quite steep, that I must say. And it's very engaging, and also the people that are there, they will help you grow and maybe push you a bit. So in a healthy sense.
That's a good thing then. And you said you worked previously with installation as well, and then now in Neodrill. Can you say a bit more about what does it require to have a successful installation?
I must clarify a bit. I was working in engineering and fabrication, and now I'm working with installation. So I didn't have like very much heavy experience in that, but I would say that I'm quite confident now. We have been having a successful campaign for the big client this year, and that has made me grow quite a lot.
Can you tell more about that?
It's we're quoting some Sun Tzu. Maybe the secret of success is preparation. So we do quite a lot of checks and balances before we go offshore with the CAN. We take care that the interfaces are working, like as you would do it with your things. You want your laptop to be working and everything that that works before you go on the trip. It's the same for us. We test the interfaces, the pump interface. We have a kind of a lock, like the bottle of water. So we would just test that it's tight and make sure that it won't leak. We test that the pump will fit and it is room for it, and we won't have any surprises offshore. So
and all this testing you do on land?
We do on land. We have a fantastic collaboration here with Randaberg Industries, and also in different bases when we're going to mobilize offshore. And there's just a fantastic industry in Norway that helps us do this job perfectly.
So you don't do this alone. You collaborate with other companies as well?
This is a fantastic collaboration. We have a playground in Norway that it's well developed with companies that we can use and collaborate with. We have partners all over the place. So it's really relatively easy to do it here, I would say.
And when you've tested on land and you made sure that everything is working correctly the way it should, and you do all the preparations, and you're happy with that, what happens next?
When we have done all the preparations and we're happy with it, we gather. We do a review. We sit down and try to not make it too impulsive. We'll sit down and then we'll go through the checklists and understand, inform each other what's the plan, what we're going to do, when's the vessel coming, how we're going to do this lift. and then we involve the vessel as well. We repeat the plan over and over again, and then we go to a deeper level. That would be a safe job analysis, and sit down with the crane drivers and all the people that's going to be involved physically, and we do it again, and we try to be as open as possible and share everything so they can also feel safe and do the job correctly.
So there's a room for making mistakes and talking about it before you actually install it. That's very important for you, that it's open and transparent.
We are very, very happy to have been working with very open companies. The installation providers, they are happy to engage everybody from the captain to the offshore manager. Everybody is installed and sitting on the same table, talking about what we are going to do and why we are going to do it, and then explaining again and then explaining again. So it helps us feel safer when we are doing the job.
And then the installation will be more safe and successful as well when everything's been turned around and talked about and checked. And
Definitely. And everybody has the chance to stop the job as well. If there's some doubt, if something that is unclear, or they have seen something that we haven't been planning for, so anyone can stop the job. It's a very good culture. I would say.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Yeah. And when everything is prepared, then Vita, you said you come with your cabin cruiser and
yeah. So then I just hook it in my heck there and I go out. no, but obviously the vessel is a big puzzle of the installation. And first of all, Antonio, I just want to say it sounds like you've been here for ages and you've been doing this for forever. That's good. I really enjoy hearing how you've been sort of into the details and how things are going. Seems to be going very smoothly when we're putting this out, and looking at the success rate, maybe that's what it really does. But back to the vessel, Neodrill is in order for the customer to want to choose the CAN-ductor over a regular conductor, the value case needs to be there. And of course, the vessel is a very important part of that. And previously, we have been taking on board vessels, passing it through us and to the customer. Obviously, that's a huge risk to a company like Neodrill, taking on a costly thing like a vessel. So we found ourselves forced to sort of stop that practice. But that doesn't mean that we are not providing service to our customers, even though, because we're still helping out with the customer to find optimized solution in terms of vessel selection. But nevertheless, the customer need to contract the vessel directly. And but the thing here for a successful installation is also to make sure that we bring on as much work to that vessel as possible in order to drive down the overall cost of the project or the campaign, as we like to say. And that could be either with combining different customers together, having their each CAN-ductor to go out, or it could be other operations like anchors to be laid down for the rig prior to arrival, and then combining it to put in the CAN-ductor. So that's also a part of our business philosophy, to make sure that we find good solutions together with our customers, also when it comes to the vessel installation.
So it's both in the planning, but also in the collaboration with other companies that is part of the successful installation.
Absolutely, I would say that is key to a good success. But sometimes we have customers that have their own marine department and they're doing marine operations very frequently. So easy for them to just plan this and put it in. And with the CAN-ductor, we can put it in way ahead of the rig arrival. So the customer has the opportunity to pick a vessel of opportunity to get it out there and then keeping the cost down. So that's maybe also one of the good things with this one. We can put it out there well in advance.
And you've also installed this globally, I understand. Do you have an example, like a project or?
You want to talk about that, Antonio? Or
I think Vidar has the overview about but I have the answer, but I think Vidar has.
Yeah, I think
the
we're quite
overview.
proud of that. We just recently did an installation of 2 units in the Gulf of Mexico on 1,600 meters of water. I think that calls for a separate episode, really, to talk about that application of the technology. But that was really another successful installation from our point of view. Obviously, there were some challenges around the vessel, but things that were out of our control. But nevertheless, again, proving that we find solutions to challenges. So, but the technology as such, spotless installation in the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah, and what I know about the Gulf of Mexico is where the hurricanes often start. So I presume you can have rough weather there.
Yeah.
So that's that they choose to use the CAN technology. It says a lot about Neodrill.
Yeah, absolutely. So quite interesting. So we had 2 units that were going out, and we had to bring a break in between them. And while there was this break, we also had this hurricane coming by. So luckily we're all ashore, so there was no. But you're right, there was.
Yeah, so you experienced the hurricane while installing the
Yeah, Wolfgang being over there, he experienced the.
Wow.
Yeah, I would rather avoid a hurricane when I'm
Yeah.
installing it.
Wow. Is there any limitations? Because you said about the depth of water was 1,600.
Yeah. No, there is no.
Is there any limitations to
Not
how
really.
deep you can go?
Not really when it comes to technology, Antonio.
There, as long as you are prepared and planning for it, it should go fine. You just need the right crane that can handle the water depth, and it should be fine. The can in itself won't be a limit.
No. So the can go very deep.
Absolutely, and you know the deeper waters, the more power Mother Nature actually provides you with the hydrostatic column that you have across that you would push the can in.
So it actually helps that it's deeper.
It gives you more power really to put the can into the ground. Yeah.
Yeah, and right now we are working in a project for the North Sea that's 1,500 meters water depth, and it looks very promising.
Can you say more about that? What have you done in this?
We are in
project?
the study phase, so we are planning to use 2 CAN-ductors for production wells and two for parking subsea trees.
And have you prepared for this? Can you say more about because now you're in the preparation stage.
Now we are doing the study phase. Maybe you talked about in the previous conversation with Wolfgang about the model that we built from the subsurface with the CPT data, and to know how hard it is or how soft the soil is.
So that's the phase you're in now.
That's correct.
Get
That's
the
the study
data.
phase.
And can you say more about how you make sure that the installation is safely installed? Because
Yes.
it's preparation, but when you're actually installing it, is there something to think about there?
Let's think about it. We have prepared the can. We have tested the can. It's tip top, and we want to go offshore. We talk with the crew. We lift it on the boat, and then we have to secure it. We do sea fastening. That's one of the most rigorous calculations we make. And then some sea fastening plates or some sort of structures are welded to the can and join the can to the boat, so it can move when we are in transit. Then we go offshore, transit offshore, find the location, make some rigorous tests to know that we are in the right place, and then we go for it if the weather allows us.
What weather conditions do you need or when do you sort of wait?
This comes out of a study. It's a deployment analysis, and it's considering the boat, the load on the boat, and some factors, the water depth, and so on. They give us a guideline about the wave height that we can install in.
So you wouldn't install it if there was a hurricane,
No,
or
no.
you would wait then.
And obviously we wouldn't go out if the weather forecast was poor. So
No.
we also have the opportunity to look ahead and plan.
Yeah.
The advantage is like the installation is so short. You can do it in just 8 hours, for example, and you don't need much a very long weather window. If you have a short weather window, you can go for it and make things happen.
Yeah, because the critical phase is only when we have to go through across the sea, over into the sea.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Just the splash zone. Once it's deep down, it's perfectly fine to work with it,
Yeah.
even though it's blowing a bit.
So when you have to, how much time do you use to work on it when it's deep down? Is that a quick operation, or is that the time-consuming operation?
It's a good question. Like, how long does this take? We, depending on the water depth, you would deploy the can through the sea. That's fairly quick, maybe 1 hour, maybe around that. And then when you have landed, that starts the magic, because we have to do it as with everything. When you start properly, you would have it easier afterwards.
When the planning's done properly, then it's easier job. That's what you're saying.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. But also, when we are penetrating the can in the seabed, the first place when we land, we want to have it as vertical as possible, because that will help us later. Then we don't need to correct that much. We'll let the can sink by its own weight. That's called the self-penetration phase. And we'll be pulling from the crane to make sure that it's in the right, it has the right inclination.
And this is all operated from the vessel with the crane and people on the vessel.
Correct. Yes, we are using the boat all the time. It's connected to the crane, and we have deployed maybe 1 or 2 world-class ROVs to follow up the job. So they are in the seabed, and you get to see what they see, and you get to tell them what to do in kind of way.
Yeah,
in
but
a way.
are you sitting on land, or will you be there?
We are typically sitting on the vessel.
Yeah.
Things change all the time, but now we are sitting on the vessel, and we are following up the operation next to the ship supervisor.
This must be an exciting process. It's like if you run a marathon and you prepared, and this is actually
It's definitely a rewarding experience. You get to experience maybe you get to see places and meet people that you wouldn't do it otherwise with a normal job. So that's pretty rewarding part of my job, I think.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, you get to exercise offshore as well, Antonio, I heard.
Yes, we get to exercise. Fantastic.
Really?
Kind of facility. I would recommend, but avoid when the weather is.
Yeah. Is it ice bathing, or is it what kind of exercise?
It's mostly jogging for me, but maybe Beater does more wild things.
No. But normally we would require maybe a vessel with a 250-ton crane, and the vessel starts become quite sort of well equipped at that stage, meaning that the people when they're offshore are also enjoying their spare time, though it's not that much. Depends on the activity, of course. But so that's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You won't be bored on the boat when you are off duty.
No, there's equipment so you can jog, or you can.
You can train. You can watch movies. You can play table tennis. You just pick your sport and go for it.
Yeah. So this is a big boat. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
We can drop the cabin cruiser, Siri.
Yeah, we can drop the cabin cruiser. And the can as well is a bit bigger than a Coca-Cola can, isn't it? Yes.
It's slightly bigger. It's about 100 tons, maybe more, maybe 120 tons if it's very high.
It's
can.
very hard to imagine the size of it, actually.
Yeah, 6 meters, and then it can be up to 16 meters high.
Yeah.
So
this
big.
Yeah.
Big stuff.
Big, yeah. And the crane to lift it as well, to put it down in the seabed must be strong.
Biggest is 18.5 meter, isn't it? We done. So yeah.
Oh wow, yeah.
And the ones in Gulf of Mexico, they were slightly smaller in diameter, but they were actually 22.5 meter.
Okay. Yeah.
Become big.
Big things. So.
But Antonia, I mean, I haven't been offshore there yet, so I haven't all that experience. But if there's one thing that you want to point to that is sort of, this is so important in order for a successful installation, what would be it?
We put a lot of effort on the inclination, I think. So the guys that are going to drill with the can afterwards have a very good groundwork.
And how do you verify the inclination?
It starts very early. You know, we installed something that's called an inclinometer, or maybe more advanced stuff.
Like a gyro?
Yes, a cube. That happens as well. And then we follow up the heading of the can, the inclination, and make sure that it has penetrated all the way, so it can have the right strength when the rig is going to connect to the wellhead.
So why is the heading so important? Or when do the heading play a matter?
Yes, it varies. It varies. It depends. That's a conversation we take with the customer. How important it is for them to have a right heading. Like the heading is where it's pointing at, where it's looking, and in some cases it's not important. It can look anywhere, but in some other cases it's important that they would like to know roughly where it's going to.
Well, and when you say
where
it's going to look, what do you mean?
I think that becomes very important when you're having production wells, because then your production need to go somewhere, and that means that you need to think of your orientation of your tree or your flow base, whatever you have on top of there, that will route your production from the well, and then that production will go to either a manifold, inline T, or straight to some kind of a floating production unit. Or
so it's when
facility.
Maybe when it's a floating production that is not so important where it looks then?
Yeah, yes, it would, because it's all sort of relative to the, you wouldn't have to go 180 degree around to get to your production vessel. So that's, so sometimes heading could be a matter, sometimes doesn't really.
Yes,
production well or exploration wells shouldn't really matter.
And then we have something cool. It is vessel moves. When the can is a bit out of inclination, then we may move the vessel slightly, like 9 meters to the east, 9 meters to the west, depending on the direction. We have a very thorough calculation, and then we would suggest let's do this, and it will improve the inclination, and we do it, and we see the improvement, and we are very happy about it. So that's fun, I would say.
Yeah. So you make adjustments when you're there as well, even not planned adjustments.
Yes, because we have studied and we know a lot about the seabed, but we are not 100% sure. We haven't done it. So you may find a layer that's a bit harder, or a layer that's tilting, and then the can finds the hard layer first, and it's trying to bit twisted, and then you have to correct it, so it can have the correct inclination.
Yeah, and that you do on site.
That we do on site, and we are following with the ROV. We follow the inclination, and we follow the penetration, and then we log all that information, and we checked our computer to see if the software is suggesting something, some corrections. So we have to be awake, and we have to follow up Otherwise, yeah.
No, but Antonio pointed to something there because that's I think that's one of the core thing with Neodrill opposed to any other company providing suction anchors. So the suction anchors are being put out there to more bigger facilities like at rig, FPSOs or whatever, and inclination doesn't really matter that much. As long as you get it down there more or less straight, you will have the force that you need. But to us, inclination becomes very, very important because we're going to put a BOP on top of there. We're going to run equipment through, and things can be hang off into the wellhead. And these kind of equipment, they don't tolerate that much of an inclination. So the industry is more like 1 degree out of verticality. That's it. If you go beyond that, you will start having wear in the BOP, in the blow-up preventer. And the drilling contractor would not be very happy about that. That's starting be very costly to him. So he's so that's one of the things that we are in better control of compared to the conventional technology, where you are more in risks of having a well that is out of inclination.
But and when you can adjust this on site, that's the
magic.
That's the magic.
That's the Neodrill magic.
Yes, it's part of it.
Yeah.
Part of the secret sauce, I would say.
Yeah. What else is part of the secret sauce, would you say?
Definitely the people.
The people,
The Neodrill.
I thought it would say Antonio, but
it's kind of people.
Yeah.
It's the people. That's the secret sauce. Neodrill people, they are very thorough, very passionate about it, and they're willing to go the extra mile to check everything is correct. And that's part of the sauce.
Yeah. The people makes the difference. Yeah.
Absolutely. Wow. It's all about passion.
Passion and people and CAN technology. That's it. Is there anything else you would say about because you're quite new but very experienced? And what about Neodrill do you find in the people is the magic and the process? What else would you say?
I'm quite new. Maybe you look at me as looking a bit young.
Yes.
I've been working in the industry, in the oil and gas industry, more than 10 years, and I've been drawn to Neodrill because of the pace that the company is growing at. It's exciting. The projects are popping up all over the world, and that's where I want to be, where things are happening. Then you have this exponential growth that you would like to be there when it happens. When it has grown, then it's a bit boring.
Yeah.
So I'm seeking kind of growth opportunities.
Yeah.
That's the north for me at the moment. And it's a good match also with the rest of my life. My family is in Norway, and just makes sense for me.
Yeah, it sounds good. Neodrill is growing. I mean, the Mexican Gulf. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, there is some good. Could be a good future.
Yeah.
I guess Jostein can talk more to that when next
because
episode.
in the next episode, because now we know about how you prepare really well to make it a safe installation, and how the people play an important role in this process. And next we will talk about the future and the opportunities for Neodrill there. Absolutely. So we will thank you, Antonio, for coming. Really
thank you very much for receiving me. It was fantastic talking to you, and hope you get a good impression from Neodrill.
Oh, definitely.
We definitely got a good impression of you.
Thank you very much, Vida.
Yeah. Young and up and coming.
Absolutely.
We like that.
We got to bring you more.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure being here.
It's a pleasure having you here. Thank you, Vida.
Thank you, Siri.